Today's lesson is measuring volume in cubic meters. Before working with cubic meters, I'd like to ask a question. How many erasers do you think will fit in this box? How many erasers do you think would fit in this box? Again, when you're estimating something, you gotta use a strategy. You can't just say, I think 50 is gonna fit in here or 20 is gonna fit in here. First of all, you'd like to see what the eraser looks like to begin with, right? And we're gonna say that's the size of an eraser. But then again, you need to use a strategy. So this looks like a little prism that could be filled up with erasers. And from previously, I wrote the equation for you of how to measure a volume of a rectangular prism or a cube. Okay, so the volume is length times width times height. Okay, length times width times height. So if I have erasers in here, so I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna say I think I could get about 5 erasers going this way, and then 5 erasers going that way. So the length, I got about 5 erasers. The width, I got about 5 erasers. And the height, how many do I think I could stack on top of each other for the height? Again, maybe 5. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125. So the volume of this is 125 erasers. So how many erasers do I think would roughly fit in here? I think it's about 125 erasers. Again, I use the strategy. We know that the formula for volume is length times width times height. Again, I went with length, that it's about 5. The width is about 5. The height is about 5. I multiply them, I get the answers. That's how much I think would fit in here. Same thing, I got something else right here. I could ask you, how many pens do you think will fit in here? Again, you would use the same strategy. I'd like to talk now about cubic meters. Cubic meter is the length, so you would have to think of a meter long, which is 100 centimeters long, because 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. So a cubic meter is 1 meter long, 1 meter wide, and 1 meter high. So I got a little picture for you guys, because we're not going to be able to I'm not going to be able to come up with something like this, a cube this size right now. So I got this picture just right off the book that shows what a cubic meter would look like. So again, the length would be 1 meter, the width would be 1 meter, and the height would be 1 meter. Okay, the length, the width, the height. So again, volume, we know, is equal to length times width times height. So the length is 1, the height is 1, the width is 1, and the height is 1. 1 times 1 times 1 equals 1 meter cubes, or cubic meters. Again, just to remember, 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters, and this is what it would look like. Questions from this lesson that I could ask you is, how many items do you think would fit well, it depends on the items. For example, if I have a coffee mug, I could ask you, how many coffee mugs do you think would fit in this cubic meter? So again, you would use the strategy that we used earlier, the length times width times height. I think this is how many would fit in the length, how many would fit in the width, and then how many would fit in the height, and I'd multiply them together to come up with the answer. I want to think about this classroom, for example. I could ask you, how many bookshelves do you think would fit in this classroom? Again, when I say how many bookshelves I think would fit in this classroom, it doesn't mean just bookshelves around the wall. It means bookshelves that are completely stacked in this whole, covering the entire classroom. Like if we open the door, we won't be able to walk in, we won't be able to see nothing, because the floor around the walls all the way up to the ceiling full of bookshelves. Okay, so I think I could get 10 bookshelves in the length of this class, and then 10 bookshelves in the width. 10 times 10, that's 100, and maybe 8 until it gets to the ceiling. So 100 times 8, that's 800. So I think 800 bookshelves will load up the class.